Yeah, pretty much. I was starting to think that I was still dragging some, but no.
You know?
What? Check the mail?
Yeah, display my double chin to the world, really, yeah.
Now, you were going to say...
Let's see, where was I? Oh. So, basically, there's this one story that I read. It's like the main character's supposed to be clueless. It's just that it seems like the author forgets it, like, after, 3 chapters. It's like 3 chapters in, you're like, this guy doesn't seem very clueless. But I much prefer it's like in the first chapter, he wrote the clueless part so spectacularly, because it's like, he basically walks up to a group of enemies, doesn't realize that they're enemies, and as they're trying to attack him, he's basically leading them into accidents. They're basically accidentally killing themselves and thinking that it's him.
Really?
Yes. It's basically, he's basically infamous among them for being an incredibly dangerous guy. And he doesn't realize, whenever he shows up, it's like, oh shoot, why does this guy always show up when I'm around? Not realizing that he is in fact talking about himself.
Yeah.
They're referring to him. And so it's like, they're basically getting themselves killed, or he's accidentally killing them. And one thing to make note of, one thing is that this guy's got a horrendous sense of direction.
Yeah.
This is the only part of the cluelessness that is remembered. After that, it is basically the guy waltzing around, and the reader constantly finding out more and more about how this guy has been all over the place, banging different girls.
Wow.
The only cluelessness is the cluelessness of all the girls that want him. And quite frankly, I can go literally anywhere else to get that. It's like when you read a story that's supposed to have a clueless main character, I expect to get a completely clueless idiot. Because tell me, doesn't it sound kind of entertaining to have this guy that's just cluelessly wandering around in a fight and accidentally killing everyone?
It's the drunken fist all over again.
The drunken fist, except you're not conscious about it. Because the drunken fist, as far as I know, you basically act like you're drunk and beat the living shit out of everyone.
Yeah, but...
Very intentionally. I'm talking about a guy that does not intentionally kill anyone.
Yeah, but if you get stone cold drunk and you're master of the drunken fist, you don't realize that you're killing people.
I suppose. But does not sound kind of entertaining to basically just have a guy who's completely clueless about things?
Don't worry, it was on the side of the road.
Then it's like he just completely forgets about it. It's like, oh, hey, he apparently has... It's like, oh, hey, he knows this girl from this faction. Oh, he also knows this girl from this religious group. It's like, she's very important. Why does he know her? And then it's like, oh, hey, wait, he did what with the enemy, with one of the enemy ringleader's daughters? Like, seriously, in one of the chapters, it's actually revealed that he had a kid with the ringleaders, with the daughter of a ringleader, of one of his enemy's ringleaders.
Yeah.
It's like, when said daughter was born is not known, but she is at least 6 years old, is what I can tell. Which is before he signed up with their enemy. So it's like, by the way, his family was trying to help out their village, so they ended up kind of making offers to various groups, like, here, we'll marry our son off to you if you help our village. The problem is that the groups all agreed. You kind of see the problem there, right? So he is engaged to a religious leader. Don't worry, it's a girl. He is engaged to one of his enemy's ringleaders, and as well as another enemy is the daughter of one of the ringleaders. Of course, he also has a daughter as well, with said daughter. Just kind of gets this.
Yeah.
And let's see. He had sex with one of his classmates from when he was going to like some sort of combat school or whatever. She ended up joining one of the like city basically like a faction or whatever. And then his superior wants him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the superior found out that he has a sexual relationship with this one girl, not the enemy girl, but this one girl from this other it's a little bit complicated to explain. It's a little bit hard to explain for me, I guess.
His relationship is complicated.
His romantic life is complicated. Like, that's 5 girls.
Yeah.
That's 4 more than needed. Like, it's like, you just made the complexity of he managed to make the complexity of his relationship status, he managed to take it and turn it from just simply, one girl to 5. Which that is absurdly complicated. Like, one girl is already complicated enough,
Yeah.
Oh, well, technically you throw the daughter in there and it makes it even more complicated. Because suddenly he has to act, because, like, his superior and classmate, basically, it's like, they don't like each other, and neither one of them is willing to let him go. So it basically turns into basically angry threesomes, I guess. I remember the character. One of the most memorable lines that came from the guy is it's half truth, but it's also it's a half truth. It's kind of a lie, but kind of the truth. But I'm not going to say that, because if I do, then they're going to flatten my Excalibur. It's basically, you basically got like two girls trying to make him say that they prefer her over the other.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you prefer? It's like, It's like you're trying to win him over through sex.
Yeah.
It's like, granted, that's probably fairly effective in many situations.
But don't you think you're giving him a little too much?
Like, it seems like the guy is just constantly flirting with different. It's like, even in the middle of the fight, I actually forgot about this girl because, well, yeah, she doesn't really. The interaction is rather short.
Yeah.
But there's one other girl that's very flirting with him. She is also his enemy, and they're trying to kill each other. You see the problem there, right? It's like they're trying to kill each other, but they're very much flirting.
It's one way to do a love-hate relationship.
It's like, want to have sex? It's like, how about instead of killing each other, we just have sex? That sounds far better.
It's much more enjoyable.
It's much more fun than this whole, trying to slit each other's throats thing we have going on. But I much preferred when the guy was just completely clueless about the fact that about, like, the whole situation surrounding him. Because it's like everyone saw him as, like, super competent.
Yeah.
And yet he is completely clueless about being competent. It's like you kind of lose out on that whole little bit about just basically being an absurdly lucky idiot.
Yeah.
When you make him actually super competent. And, like, aware of the situation.
I mean, there would have to come a point where he would learn about it, but...
Yeah, like, within the first 3 chapters, really?
Depends on what they plan on doing later on down the road.
It's like, if you're just gonna make him, like, super competent and all that, it's like, at least make it so that, at least don't put Clueless in the title. Because it's like, it's like when he stops being a lucky idiot, it actually, like, realizes and knows the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
Don't you think that you kind of lose out on that whole Clueless bit?
I mean, if you can do it right, you can make it work, but...
you can make it so that he's, like, competent, but then not really.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, sometimes he's not really aware of what's going on around him or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he sometimes misses a detail, misidentifies someone as, and all that.
Being a person after him, yeah.
Because, like, the only time when I can actually think of something like that is when I read that story where it's like, you had the main character, he basically meets a girl, manages to trick him into thinking that she is actually one of the good guys, that she is looking to help. And then he just sort of leads her straight there, and then she immediately helps the bad guy get away.
Yeah.
And it's like, you helped the enemy? It's like, she told me she was a good guy. It's like, really now? Or later on when he, got blackout drunk and met that same girl and had sex with her. What I think is funny is, in that chapter, the author actually had it so he didn't actually write in, like, the whole sex part.
Yeah.
No, he just basically, he did a bit where, one of the main character's friends called him up, while he was drunk and started asking him questions.
I see.
And you heard him say, "Don't worry, I'll get back to you, my little ice queen." So, the only worth you'd get out of producing a crapload of counterfeiting a bunch of $1 bills would be
Losing money.
Crashing the economy.
Maybe.
Produce that many.
Yeah. There comes a point where you wonder if you're stimulating it or crashing it. Because it's like, you're paying $3 for $1 bill. It's like, is this hurting it or helping?
Wait, did that kid think that I was this Logan guy?
No. Maybe. Actually, no, I got some here. Actually, yeah, I can go.
Maybe that's the Logan.
Maybe. It's more fun to do with $2 bills, though.
Why? Because you're only losing $1?
No. Because everyone thinks $2 bills are fake.
Just flood the economy with $2 bills?
Part of my evil plan. Not only will it devalue the dollar, but it will also confuse everyone.
It's a perfect plan, I say.
So, dissent, confusion, and economic ruin all at the same time.
Why didn't the Soviet Union just do that?
because they had to play the long game and go with the crazy infiltration of academia.
They could have literally just crashed the U.S. economy by...
They didn't have the money to do that, though.
But it would have been efficient, right?
Are you trying to destroy them or ruin them for a second?
You mean kind of like how they did with the U.S.?
Yeah, well, true. I mean, this was after the gold standard, too, so it could have possibly done some damage.
What was the gold standard again?
Basically, it meant that every dollar that you had was equivalent with a certain amount of gold. And you had the confidence that if you really wanted to, you could exchange that money straight for gold. When we left the gold standard, we basically entered the game that every other country was playing, and printing money just because, for more money. And so that ended up devaluing everything.
You know, I think I like the gold standard a lot more.
Yeah, the gold standard is a lot more solid.
Stable.
Yeah, that too.
You can count on it to have your back.
Yeah.
It's not going to completely f you over.
Yeah.
Make you bend down, grab your ankles,
Yeah.
hold on to your life.
It also means that food stays at about the same price because the dollar isn't getting devalued. There isn't this inflation problem, really, because, I mean, the easiest way would be just to go to straight gold again and have it that way, but no.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of just, using gold instead.
I mean,
seriously, think about the strip clubs.
God! Are you trying to stone them or pay them?
You take my money, you filthy heathen! You have to dress up as a crusader, walk into a strip club. Like, take my money, heathen. Just chugging at them.
God wills you to have my money.
How do you think they'd react? Are you confused, just?
I think they'd be wary of you, at the door.
It's like, it's like, you seeing what I'm seeing? Yep. Should we, turn him away, or? I don't know, it might be kind of entertaining to let him
Oh
in.
my goodness. Then we can kick him out.
I think that this part here is very problematic for this story.
Why?
Joined the military when he was 15. You see the problem there, right?
I mean, yeah, kinda. I mean, there were still kids that snuck in at 16 under the wire.
Oh, okay, yeah, this makes a bit more sense now.
I mean, what
He's
time...
supposed to be from it's supposed to be like World War II times.
Oh, okay, see, there we go.
I'm like, for me, that was like a problem there.
Just a second. Kids were patriotic back then. They were full red-blooded Americans.
Actually, it was for the Soviet Union.
Oh, no.
They're probably more lenient on their regulations that way. But
They needed the men at the time.
they needed more,
Manpower.
yes. Even if that manpower was,
Yeah.
just kind of a meat shield for the officers.
Yeah. Why is it the officers need the mean shields? Why can't the officers do the mean work?
Because they're the officers.
How come all the enlisted men have to run the wire and the officers just get to give the orders? How come the officers get to sit on the butt all day? How come the officers don't have to be infantry?
I don't know. You know,
No.
when I'm looking for a very specific thing, I sometimes cannot find what I'm looking for. And instead I get stuck with stuff that, well, stuff that doesn't fit what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I get shafted with stuff like, stuff about Los Angeles.
Oh. What are you looking for?
Stories about a very specific set of, fan fictions.
That tells me a lot.
Look, all that comes up is stuff that is quite clearly marked Los Angeles or stuff like that. It's like, why is there so much of this?
I don't know.
It's like, I can find like a billion crappy reader inserts on Ruby, but then this one in the anime, I can't find diddly squat, and most of it is just cringy edgelord bullshit.
Because nobody watches it.
It's like what little I do. You're saying nobody watches Strike Witches? An anime that's about fan service?
What fanfiction is there to write if it's all about fan service?
They could have at least wrote fanfics about the guns.
They're not you!
Oh, come on! To me, it sounds like a very good storyline. You're the main character, and all you do is sit in an armory and clean and fix guns. Sounds like a beautiful storyline to me. It's peaceful, quiet.
They've got the other fan service, so why do people have to write fan fiction that adds fan service? They don't.
Maybe it's because they feel kind of awkward about the fact that...
They're all young girls?
No, that all the young girls are basically gender-bent versions of aces.
Oh, that would do it.
Oh wait, there's a crap load of porn for it, so...
That's where all the fan fiction is.
Yeah.
Pornhub.
No, not Pornhub, I don't think. I don't think they have a doujin section. You know, off-brand manga section.
Yeah. It's on one of those hentai sites.
Exactly.
Hentai Haven. That is now dead.
Oh, Hentai Haven.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've heard that name. Like, I didn't stop and look at you because I didn't want to pretend like I didn't know. No, I actually forgot.
What was that? Oh, that's how dead it is. Okay.
It's like, it's a him?
It'll be like Mixer.
Oh!
It'll be like Mixer here in the next month.
Let me guess, Mixer is basically dying now.
they're shutting Mixer down in order to focus more on xCloud.
xCloud? What's that?
Microsoft's Xbox streaming service for playing your video games on your phone. Yeah. And they're basically going to transition everyone over to Facebook gaming. And everybody's like, why? No. E-Thoughts on Mixer be like, why? This is so bad. Cry, cry, cry.
They can bitch and moan, but nobody gives a shit.
Basically, it's like, I would look at Facebook gaming, it just doesn't fit me. Then use the normal Facebook streaming. Like Brandon Tarrant did, okay? He didn't use gaming, he used the normal Facebook Live. Mixer was built for gaming anyway, not for Let's Chat crap. Come on. Twitch was built for gaming, but then, no.
Twitch was built for gaming, you jerk!
Yeah,
Not so that you can flash your tits on the internet! If you want that, go to OnlyFans!
subscribe to Belle Delphine's OnlyFans for only feet pics, no titties to be found.
No tits or vaginas to be found here. Just them feet pics. If you're into feet, then this is your dream come true. It's literally your wet dream.
You wonder where all the feet pics memes come from. Every other e-thought is selling their body. Belle Delphine's selling her feet.
You know, for some odd reason, that made me think of a certain meme that I saw a while back.
Oh.
It was like a guy crouching down, looking at a girl's legs, saying, I want them to sandwich me. And you had caption over one of her thighs was loving relationship. The other one was rough sex.
Gosh! Oh. Ah. Can you tell what they've been consuming?
Some interesting stuff.
They still want that relationship, but their media has been very interesting as of late.
Have you seen, like, you know, Mike Goes Boom or whatever? No, wait, not Mike Goes Boom. Mike Burnfire, was it?
Yeah.
Him, yes, him. You know, there's two YouTubers that I know that have Mike in their username, but whatever. So, have you heard, like, the porn, one of their porn discussions?
No.
Yeah. They're sitting there talking, and it's like, one of them's, like, I think Zach is supposed to be the army guy, and Mike's supposed to be the Marine. Yeah, anyway, so I guess it would be Mike. Mike was the one who, he went over to his, like, cousin's house or whatever, found their parents' porn tape.
Yeah.
And so he got, like, a VHS and basically did, like, early pirating. Yeah. He made a VHS and then he snuck it home.
Wow.
It's like years later. He stopped, randomly thought about it. He's like, I don't know where that went. It probably ended up in, if I remember right, actually, he put it in, like, some kids' movie thing to hide it. Can't remember exactly what it was, but basically.
Some parents got that VHS and they're like, what?
Anyway, so. It's kind of like what happened in South Park with Butters and, you know, Lord of the Rings.
This is Song of the South, XXX.
Anyway, so. So, let's see. What was I thinking of? Which part was I thinking of? Oh, right. He looked back at it, and he's like, wait a minute. That was like BDSM, isn't it? Wasn't it? And he's sitting there talking and explaining it, and he's like, I was sitting there thinking about, if that kind of affected my views on sex, and yes, it did. And he talks about how like his first girlfriend kind of came forward with this, like, well, you see, I'm kind of into this, and she's into like BDSM kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? What's so weird about that? Why would you not want me to grab him and lightly start choking you?
God.
Isn't that completely normal? You see, clearly he was the perfect boyfriend for her.
Yeah.
Because she was into some interesting stuff, and he didn't know anything else. What was I talking about before that?
I have no idea. I'm not sure if I want to go back to that either.
You're not sure if you want to go back to what led to that conversation?
Yeah.
Or to that story?
Yeah.
It's like, whatever it was, it's clearly very messed up.
Whatever it was, it's not important now. Move along.
I know that it has something to do with feet pics. No, wait, that came after the fact.
That's fine. It's okay.
Well, I do know what it was.
Oh?
It was my complaints about not being able to find a certain kind of fan fiction. And only being able to find stuff that takes place in California.
Sorry. You'll just have to deal.
In the People's Republic of California.
Let's leave the PRC 2.0 alone.